body today? Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so we are going to start. We're going to start with a little bit of prop setup. And our first thing that we're going to start with is our blanket roll. So this is option number 1. You're going to start with your blanket like so. And then we are going to roll it. Yeah, I'm going to give this one to you. Oh man, Sandy. Oh man. Okay, we're gonna roll the blanket roll until we have something that looks roughly like this. So the first option, when I was asking everyone about whether or not they had a ball, the ball can be used as a substitute for what we are about to do. Notice that depending upon the density of your ball, the density and the size, you might choose to do one thing over the other. So the first thing you're going to do is lie down on your abdomen. No. Well, not immediately. And well, you guys, actually, I should probably have you sit up. If you've got your torso in half, we're going to put the blanket roll on half of our torso. So you're going to slide it under half of you between the lowest rib and the top of your hip. And then you're going to lay down on that, heads up, 7 up. Now, if you've eaten, I apologize. You're not going to like this at all. And then some of you might be like, yeah. The more you go in, we're just trying to get our psoas. So you're just going to go probably about an inch in, and then you're going to lie down. So it should be asymmetrical. And you're going to feel a lot of stuff that doesn't feel so great. And so some of you will just lie here on the blanket roll. And the thing to note is that the more compact it is, the better it is. So Barbara, can you come out? You want it only under half of your body. So it doesn't go over the entire body. It's only under one side. So maybe just the right side or just the left side. There you go. And it's kind of, the more you soften into it, you'll feel it dig into your, I guess, your psoas. You'll feel it dig into parts of your QL, quadratus lumboris. So it's not the symmetrical one that we normally do. And some of you may be like, yeah, I don't want to try that. And then that's where the ball comes in. The ball you can put in that same spot and lie down flat over it. Cool. And we're just going to take a couple of breaths here. And you're going to notice if your shoulders are creeping up towards your ears, if you can relax that. You're going to notice if there's any gripping around your mouth or your shoulders or your hands. And then you're going to see, may I touch? If you can breathe deeper into the back of the body on the side that that blanket roll happens to be settling on. And you'll notice that the more you deeply breathe into the back body, you'll feel that your body can sort of soften around the blanket roll. And you might start to feel your psoas. So the psoas is a muscle that goes from your lowest rib in the back, and then it crosses down the spine over the front of the hip and into the top of your leg. And so you're just pausing and you're breathing. You've got about 2 more breath cycles here just to notice. And then when you're ready, you'll gently come out and reposition that blanket to find a new spot. And so you might turn it slightly so it's on an angle. You might slide it down a little bit. You might slide it up a little bit. But you're going to feel what feels appropriate for you. And then you're going to take another 5 breaths. And in the new spot, you should find some new sensations, and you're just going to pause and you're just going to breathe and you're going to notice. Is there any part of you trying to inch up away from the floor, or can you soften around the blanket or the ball if you're using it? You've got about 3 more breath cycles here. Calm, steady, deep breath, back of body. At the end of this next exhalation, you're going to gently come off your blanket roll, just slide it off to the side, lie on your abdomen flat, and notice if you notice anything between the sides. Just notice, how does the back of the body feel? How does the front of the body feel? You might feel stuff balancing in the hips, maybe in the shoulders, all the way up to the neck. And you just pause and you breathe. And once you feel like you've got a good indication of the difference, we're going to try the other side. So the blanket roll is going to come to the other side. And I would encourage you this time to really see if you can play with putting the edge, the folded edge, more in towards the medial side so that you can feel that really pressing up against. It's still pretty close in. It's just not the fringy side, it's the other side. And you're just going to take a couple of minutes and a couple of breaths. And you're going to breathe here. And you're going to just notice what this feels like. I heard something by Simon Sinek a couple of weeks ago, which I thought was quite brilliant. He basically was saying that most of us don't fear change. We fear the unpredictable nature of change. And I've been thinking about that a lot because I am a slight control freak if ever there was one. And I don't mind necessarily changing if I can be in control of it. But if I can't, I'm not so happy about it. If I can't predict it, also not so happy about it. And so you just take a couple more breaths and notice that as you continue to breathe into the back of your body, you can relax your shoulders. Pay attention. And I want you to breathe a little deeper into my hand. There we go. Do you notice how that creates space in your pelvis now? Yeah. All right. And then you just pause and you breathe. And then at the end of this next exhalation, you're going to come out just slightly and reposition it for your second option. And just notice where you want it this time. Do you want a little higher? Do you want a little lower? Do you want to turn it a little bit so it's on an angle, maybe pointing up, maybe pointing down? You just notice. And then you let yourself sort of fall into it. You let yourself breathe into it. And any of you that are using that ball, I want you to imagine that your belly is like quicksand and you're just sort of trying to cover the ball with as much of your belly as you can, not forcefully, but just sort of by softening around it. Nice work. Let's take 3 more breath cycles here. And then at the end of your third exhalation, you'll gently take that blanket roll out. You'll lie flat on your abdomen. And again, you'll just take a moment to notice what you notice. I got you, Sandy. You're good. Sorry, Roberta. That ball just went rolling towards you. And you just notice, how's the body? How's the breath? How are you? Let's go ahead and turn our right ear to the mat. Bend your left knee, reach around with your left hand and grab your left foot. Gentle quad stretch. As you're here, notice if you want to internally or externally rotate the thigh bone. So really at the top of the hip. Notice if your pubic bone can descend into the floor. Notice if you want to kick your foot into your hand or pull your foot into your butt. And then you'll just gently release that. Go ahead and turn the left ear to the mat, bend the right knee, reach around with the right hand and grab your right foot. And then again, start by rooting your pubic bone down into the mat. Notice if you want to internally or externally rotate the thigh, it just changes which quadricep you're getting. And then notice if you want to kick your foot into your hand or really pull your hand into your foot into your pelvis. Nice work. All right. Gently release that. Open your arms out into a T shape. You can choose to stay in a T or cactus your arms. Turn your right cheek to the mat. Step your left hand underneath your left shoulder. If you've cactused your elbows, you might want to walk your right elbow back behind you just a little bit more. Then push into your right hand and roll, or rather push into your left hand and roll to the right. And we're just taking a gentle stretch across the front of our chest. You're noticing how that feels. Again, breathing deeply, maybe adjusting your head if you'd like by lifting it up away from the floor and maybe leaning it back. Nice work. On your next in-breath, come back to the abdomen, extend the left arm. Maybe it's a cactus, maybe it's a T. Look to the right, step the right hand underneath the right shoulder, and then roll towards your left. And if you have kept your left hand bent, we want to push down through all 5 fingers. Yep, we're going to push down through our, left fingers, push down through your left elbow, pull your left elbow isometrically towards your left pec, push into your right hand, and then just roll a little bit more to your left. Great. All right, next in-breath, let's go ahead and come back to center. This is weird, and I am fully aware of that, so I apologize in advance. You're going to put your hands directly underneath your shoulders for today. And we're going to keep them here for these first 2 variations. So you're going to push your hands down lightly into the mat, pull them back isometrically, and pull your heart and sternum forward. Then from there, draw the shoulder blades onto the back and see if you can lift just your head a little bit more. Fantastic. And exhale, lower down. We've got 4 of these. So you'll inhale and pull your hands back, reach your heart forward, lift up. Yep. And then exhale, lower down. 3 more on your own. And you're just pausing and you're breathing. Pubic bone is rooting down. Toes are pressing down. Nice, steady breath. And you'll notice that in this orientation, your shoulders feel a little different. Having our hands this far forward makes the neck and shoulders a little bit more challenging, but it'll help us when we get a little later into the practice. Great. Let's go ahead and come up for this last one, and you're going to hold here for 3 breaths. And I want you to notice what happens if you press into your belly button as you breathe in. And then notice what happens if you root down into your pubic bone as you breathe out. And then notice what happens if you can draw your shoulder blades onto your back or reach the sternum forward just a smidge more. Nice work. Next exhale, lower all the way down. Grab your blanket one more time. This time, you're going to put it in the hollows of your hips. So right where that crease happens, you're going to put your blanket right there. And we want to make sure it's still pretty folded. So if it unfolded itself, you're going to refold it. And then hands underneath your forehead. And then from here, let's go ahead and inhale. Lift your right leg up as high as you can. And then exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift your left one up. And exhale down. You got 10 of these. So as you keep inhaling and lifting, let's see if you can engage some of the muscles on the back of your legs. So your hamstrings, your glutes. Yep. Fantastic. And you're just inhaling and coming up. And exhaling and going down. Make sure your legs stay pretty neutral as you lift them. So you can definitely notice when you put your feet down, if your pinky toe is last to touch, can the pinky toe touch at the same time as your big toe? There we go. Awesome. That was 10, fantastic. All right, so this next time we're gonna lift both legs up and you're gonna hold for 10 breaths. And we're gonna see if we can lift up through our inner thighs more than we think we want to. We're going to see if we can lift our whole legs even higher than we think that we can. Yeah, hello glutes, hello hamstrings. And we're going to notice that we probably stopped breathing. So let's come back to that thing. And again, I'm not counting. It's just 10 of your breath cycles, lifting your legs as high as you can, both at the same time. And then after you've taken your 10 breaths, you gently lower your legs back down. You take a moment to pause. You take a moment to breathe. Fantastic. All right. From here, let's go ahead and replant our hands in that weird position once again. So our hands are more underneath our shoulders than underneath our ribs. You're going to press down into the tops of your big toenails and your pinky toenails. You're going to pull your heart forward by pushing your hands down isometrically. Then draw the shoulder blades together on the back and then see if you can lengthen your ears away from your shoulders. And just notice what that feels like. And then we'll go ahead and exhale and lower down. Walk your hands back just a bit. Push into your hands and knees, come up to hands and knees. And then you can either sit in thunderbolt pose, or you can put a block underneath your seat. So you choose what's going to work for you. Toes are flat. Yep. Blanket, let's put it off to the side for just a moment. So we've got 3 variations here. You get to choose whichever one you want. You guys are going to do it with me. So variation 1, inhale, reach both arms up. As you exhale, look to your right, hands sweep back, and they come to touch your butt as your chest touches your thighs. Inhale, sweep the arms out, come back up, look up, and then exhale, left cheek or look to the left, hands swim to the back, chest comes to the thigh. Inhale, sweep the arms up, look up, and then exhale, fold forward, both hands come back. So that's option 1. You might continue that. Option 2 is you inhale and you come up. As you exhale, you repeat the same first part, okay? Inhale, come up. Exhale, go back, looking to the left. Great. Inhale, come up. And then exhale, same. So that seems totally fine. Here's where the variation comes in. Inhale, this time you stand on your knees. And then exhale, you look towards your right to lower your chest. Okay. Inhale, come up, both arms high, look up. Exhale, look to the left, chest on the thighs. Okay, last one. Inhale, come up. And then exhale back to center. Great. You get to repeat that one more time on your own. So one more set. Maybe you stay seated. Maybe you stand on your thighs. You choose what works for you. And you're just paying attention to your breath. Great. Last set. Go ahead and come up. And if you're getting tired, you might just do the hands. You can just stay here and do the hands. Or you can keep moving the whole body. You're just following your breath. Great. The next time you come forward into that child's pose, pause there. You'll just take a couple of breaths, allow the hands to descend to the floor, and notice what you notice here. From here, we'll start to walk our hands underneath our shoulders, push into the floor, roll up to sit, and then we'll make our way forward to hands and knees. Fantastic. From hands and knees, let's go ahead and curl just your belly away from the floor. Drop your head, drop your tail, scoop everything in, round your spine as much as you can. And then inhale, come to a neutral spine. Exhale, curl back into your cat pose. And inhale to a neutral spine. Exhale, curl just into a cat pose. Inhale to a neutral spine. We've got 2 more. And exhale, curl just into a cat pose. Inhale to a neutral spine. Last one. Exhale, curl into cat pose. Fantastic. Inhale to neutral spine. This time you'll exhale here and then inhale into a cow pose. Squeeze the muscles on the back of the body. And then exhale to a neutral spine. Inhale into a cow pose. Exhale to neutral spine. Yeah, 3 more. Inhale into cow. Exhale to neutral. Inhale to cow. Exhale to neutral. Last one. Inhale to cow. Exhale to neutral. Keep those ribs long. Awesome. Take an in-breath here. As you exhale, round the spine into cat. And then inhale, come into cow. So we're just taking a little bit of moments to break things down just a bit. We're working on trying to get our digestive fire, our Agni, working today. And so we're just trying to start to tone the core. We're giving ourselves the capacity to digest all the things that are happening in life. Because I think change becomes hard if we don't feel that we can digest the experience, if we can take in the nutrients that we need from it and let go of the debris that we don't. Great. Let's take one last set. And let's move on. All right, let's go ahead and come to a neutral spine. Let's walk our hands forward about 2 inches or so. Inhale into your cow shape. As you exhale, you'll come to the tips of your fingertips, round yourself back into a child's pose. From there, inhale, come forward back into that tabletop position, a little further forward. Curl both sets of toes under and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Great. Inhale, come forward, hands and knees. Exhale back to your child's pose. Come to the tips of the fingers, scoop the belly. Great. Inhale, come forward, back to hands and knees. And then exhale, downward facing dog. 2 more sets on your own. You're just playing with your breath, paying attention to your breath, seeing if we can move slowly and methodically. See if we can keep our hands and feet pretty rooted where they are. And we're just learning how to move through the shapes. Fantastic. This is your last set. The next time you find yourself in downward facing dog, you will stay there for about 5 breath cycles. Great. Now this time, as we're in our down dog, we're gonna root down through our index finger and our thumb. So we're gonna find that energy going up the lines of our body. Yep, feeling that coming into the shoulders. And then you keep pushing the shoulders down and forward to the hands as you lift the waist and lift the hips. From there, see if you can send your pubic bone back just a smidge. Yep, and then notice if you can reach the inner and the outer edges of your heels equally rooted to the floor. So push from here, find that line come up. Yep. Awesome sauce. The end of your next exhalation, let's start to walk our feet towards our hands. And when you get to the top of your space, try to get there as efficiently as possible. You'll separate your feet about hip distance apart, or maybe a little fist distance apart. And then from here, we'll go ahead and draw our hands up our shins, reach our spine parallel to the floor, inhale, and then exhale, fold in. We've got 2 more of those. So inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthening the breath, lengthening the spine. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Last one, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, Uttanasana. This one we're gonna hold. So inhale, come up, halfway lift. Pause here. Let's bring our fingertips onto the tips of our shin bones. And I want you to push your fingertips into your shins and then push your shins into your fingers until you feel the backs of your legs come online. Once you feel that, notice if you can find a little bit of your pubic bone going back, your heart going forward, yep, and shoulder blades coming away from your ears. From there, slight tuck of the chin to the chest. Yep, so you can lengthen the back of your neck and your ears long. Yeah. And then let's go ahead and draw our hands to our hips. Inhale, go ahead and slowly come all the way up to stand. When you find yourself upright, if you're at all dizzy, you drop your chin to your chest, maybe soften the gaze, and then close the eyes. Cool. And just take a breath and notice what you notice. Great. Go ahead and gently open your eyes. We're going to turn to face the side of our mat. And this is super lazy. This isn't anything big. You're just going to twist. Twist and twist and twist. So according to Catherine Templeton, she's an Ayurvedic teacher. We're trying to see where we are in our digestive tract. And this is generally the first thing that she encourages people to do in her yoga therapeutic practice is if you've got grief or there's a lot of stuff you're trying to digest, this is the first thing that she encourages people to do because it just loosens stuff up. And we've already done a couple of the other things that she asks us to do later on, but whatever. And then we'll go ahead and gently find ourselves to neutral. Now, once you've found yourself slowly getting there, you'll just take a moment to pause. You'll take a moment to breathe, and you'll just notice what you notice. Great. Come to face the top of your space again. Let's move on. Inhale, circle sweep arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Now from here, inhale, halfway lift, and as you exhale, plant your palms and step your right foot back. Step your left foot back, plank pose. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. I want you to focus on breathing into your abdomen. Press down into your hands. See if you can lengthen your crown away from your tail. Push a little bit. There we go. And then you lift up through your inner thighs. After your 5th exhalation, you'll shift your weight forward and lower slower than you want to. Lower all the way down in one piece. Nice work. Nice control, guys. Look at that. Fantastic. Once your belly touches the floor, you're going to get your blanket roll and again, put it underneath your hip crease. So that hollowed space. So this one comes from Sierra Hollister. Again, Kundalini teacher, the whole week I spent the time focusing on digestion. So this is a Kriya that she has us do. You guys have already done it, but we're going to do it again. Kriya is an energizing technique in yoga. Typically, well, they shouldn't hurt ideally, but yeah. So when you're ready, you're going to go ahead and inhale and lift your right leg up. And then exhale and lower down. And then inhale, lift your left leg up. Steve, plant your hands underneath your forehead. Exhale down. Inhale, right leg up. And you've got 10 of these. And this time I want you to see if you can lift your legs a little higher. So you'll notice that you lifted and there's a spot where it stops. But then you have a little bit more capacity that you don't know until you try it. And then you're like, oh, wow, look, I could go there. And so you're just going to do 10 of these. We're engaging the glutes. We're engaging the hamstrings. We're lifting our legs as high as we can. Slow down there a little, Laura. There you go. There you go. Perfect. Nice control there, Barbara and Julie. Nice, Robin. Yeah, there you go, Robin. Awesome. So I wasn't counting. Are we at 10 yet? Sure. Okay. Well, the next time you've done both sides evenly, go ahead and wait and release both legs down. And then we're going to go ahead and lift both legs up. And you're going to hold for 10 breath cycles. So this is the Kriya technique here. I just gave you the other one to prep so it's not so painful. And then you'll lift up through your inner thighs. You'll reach back through your feet. You're really breathing as you lift up. And surprisingly, you have a lot more capacity than one would think, or rather than you would think. So what? What are you doing? Just lift up through the inner thighs. That part a little bit more. There you go. Lift up just here. There we go. And then after you've taken your 10 breaths, you're going to go ahead and lower down. Fantastic. Plant your hands underneath your shoulders. Plant the tops of your toenails down onto the mat, and then inhale, pull your heart and sternum forward and through. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back and your neck away from your ears, and inhale, lift as high as you want. And then exhale, lower down. We've got 4 of these. So you're just inhaling, pulling your heart forward. Your legs are still super long and active. And then exhale down. And you just for your own breath pace, and you're noticing what that feels like. Yep. Inhale, coming up. Awesome. This next one that you come up, you're going to stay there. Some of you might decide to put a little bit more weight into your hands, and you notice your pelvis rocks back a little bit and your chest comes up surprisingly easy. And you're just like, okay. And you just pause and you breathe, and you pause and you breathe. And then when you've had enough, you exhale and you slowly lower down. Curl both sets of toes under. Inhale and come up through hands and knees. And then come to the tips of your fingers. Push yourself back into that weird child's pose. Inhale, come forward to the hands and knees once again. And then exhale back to your downward facing dog. And you just take a moment to pause. And you take a moment to breathe. And again, when you find yourself in this shape, we want to see if we can make the heels of our hands a little bit lighter as we push through the L shape of our hands, and we find that energy come up into the armpits. And then we can press the shoulders down and then find our ribs lifting up to our hips, our pelvis lifting up, and our pubic bone back. Nice work. You just take a moment to pause here. You take a moment to breathe. Then when you're ready, you'll start to bend your knees and you'll start to walk your feet towards your face. Those of you that don't have a blanket fairy at home, you're going to probably need to move your blanket or step around it. And then once you get towards the top of your space, we're going to go ahead and inhale, and we're going to halfway lift. And then exhale, fold in. 2 more just like that, following your breath. Noticing how you can elongate your breath as you elongate your spine. All right, so here's our change. The next time you fold in, you're going to bend your knees. You're going to bring your hands to your heart center and sit your butt low for Utkatasana, chair pose. And we're just going to continue to breathe down into our feet. So I think we did this a couple of weeks ago, but I really want you to think of rooting your feet down. I want you to energetically hug your legs in. We're going to think of drawing our pelvic floor up just a little bit, our sternum up, our crown is long. And so we're keeping the pelvic floor coming up so we can contain our energy as we're sitting our butts super low. And we breathe for 3. We breathe for 2. We breathe for 1. Inhale, stand up. As you exhale, soften the arms, close the eyes, and just take a moment to check in. And you just notice the breath, you notice the body, you notice you. All right. If your gaze is closed, go ahead and open your eyes. We're going to go ahead and turn to face the side. Grab both of your blocks. I don't know if they can see me. So you're to turn to face the side. Grab both of your blocks, and we're going to put one block towards the top of our space and the other block towards the back of our space. And before we get to that, though, you're going to separate your feet a little wider than hip distance, and you're just going to do that twisting thing again. So it's really just to unwind things. It's to give ourselves permission to just check in and be where we are. Catherine Templeton, she said this could be your whole practice for the whole day. I thought that was fantastic. I was like, well, I'm not actually going to do that, but I like the invitation. And so you're just going to see how this feels, and then you're going to slowly start to settle down and find your way back to neutral. Great. And once you find yourself neutral, we'll go ahead and just take a moment to check in and see how that feels. And then we'll separate our feet, maybe about 3 feet apart. Cool. From here, let's open our arms out into a giant T shape. You're going to inhale and lower, I guess that's your right arm, and lift your left arm up and take a little bit as a side bend over here. Take a breath in. And take a breath out. Probably can't. Can they see you? No, they can see Roberta's face. And then you'll inhale and come up, both arms out to the side, and then exhale, other side. So lower your left arm and your right arm reaches up and overhead, and you pause and you breathe. Yeah. And then you inhale and you come back up, both arms out into a T, and then exhale back to the first side. We're going to do this about 4 times, and we're just trying to pay attention. Inhale, come up, exhale, other side, to how we're breathing into our lateral side body. You might notice that as we keep doing this, you might get a little bit deeper into the side bend. You might feel it happening more around your hips. Slow down there. So a complete breath cycle in the shape. You breathe in, you breathe out, and go to the other side. So this will be our last one. You're just pausing in your breathing, and you're noticing how that feels. Great. Awesome sauce. Next time you're in center, both arms just out to the side. Go ahead and lower your arms down alongside your hips and just take a moment to pause and breathe. Okay, so this is the point where many of us are going to bring our blocks closer to our feet. So you might bring your blocks on their lowest setting or second setting right in front of your feet, like your feet have suddenly gotten a lot longer. Great. Yeah. And so from here, you're going to inhale both arms out wide. As you exhale, let's go ahead and bend our right knee. You're going to cross your left hand to your right foot or the right block, whatever's going to work for you. And then you'll inhale and you'll come back up. And we're going to do that 3 times. So same side. Yep. And then inhale, coming up. And then, yep. And last one. And then the next time you twist, we're going to stay there. Okay, now this time, if your hand is on the floor, see if you can turn your toes or fingers to face in the same direction as your toes. Sorry, opposite direction of your toes, turning to face your toes. Thank you for that, Sandy. And then from there, you're going to reach up through your top arm. And I want you to think of pushing down through your bottom arm in order to roll your rib cage towards your inner right thigh. Now, some of you are going to stay right here. Some of you are going to bend that right knee and bring your right hand, right elbow, wow, and bring the back of the right hand to your left hip. Then you'll inhale and look down towards your hand and foot. And then exhale, roll the belly more towards the right and look up towards the sky. Now you've got 5 of these. And so every time you exhale, the belly is rolling to the right and up towards the sky. And every time you inhale, the gaze is coming down. So this is something that comes from Yoga Rupa Raj Striker, it's part of the Para Yoga tradition. And you're just trying to, again, get the digestive fire going. After you've taken 5, you'll go ahead and keep in the rotation. So you'll be towards the right. You might reach your right arm up. You might lengthen your ears so your neck is parallel to the floor, and you'll just pause there for a breath. You might straighten that front leg if you've got the capacity, but notice it intensifies things. Great. On your next in-breath, gently unwind, come up through center, both arms parallel to the floor. And as you exhale, lower your hands, soften the gaze, take a moment to just check in. What do you notice between the right side? What do you notice between the left side? How's the breathing? How's the body? How are you? It's also kind of a heat producing thing, so if you feel that too, that's totally fine. And then we'll try the other side. So inhale, both arms parallel to the floor. Go ahead and bend your left knee. Cross your right arm to your left foot or block. And then you inhale and you come back up. Yeah, and you've got 4 more of those, or rather a total 4. We're just going. Slow down your breath. Slow breath. Great. This should be our last one, and we're going to go ahead and stay here. So if you can, turn your toes and your fingertips to point towards each other. Great, that's a better description. And then we'll push down through our hand, we'll push down through our foot, we'll draw our left low belly towards the left. And then go ahead and bend your left elbow and bring the back of your left hand to your right butt. From here, inhale, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, rotate more towards your left. Inhale, your gaze comes to the floor. And then exhale, gaze comes up, and belly rolls to the left. And you've got 5 of these. And it's kind of subtle, it's kind of small. And we're just working on that. And then my hyper flexible people, we're going to keep drawing that outer right hip back. So the rotation, is just happening in the abdomen. And you're just rolling in the belly. And of course, I wasn't counting. So once you get to 5, you're going to stay there. Let's get back towards me and rotate just through your abdomen. There we go. And then you'll just take a couple of breaths there. Maybe your left arm reaches up towards the sky. Maybe it doesn't, but we're finding the rotation happening by pulling the belly in and to the left. When you're ready, you'll inhale and come back up, both arms parallel to the floor. And then exhale, lower the hands, soften the gaze, and just take a moment to check in and notice how you feel. Nice work. All right, let's go ahead and add on. Go ahead and step your feet together, step to the top of your space. This one is weird, so I'm not gonna lie, we haven't done it in a while, but you're gonna separate your feet a little wider than your hips, and you're gonna pop a squat like Julia Roberts says in Pretty Woman. So we wanna make sure our arms stay straight. I find it's easier to have my thumbs on the inside, fingers on the outside, but you choose what works for you. And you are going to essentially just take some cats and cows here. We're trying to find Agnisara. So you're going to scoop the belly as you exhale. And then at the end of the exhale, see if you can scoop Uddiyana Bandha up. And then when you need to, you'll relax that and inhale and come back to a neutral. And then exhale, you round the spine. At the end of the exhalation, you can feel like your internal organs can float up a little bit. And then you relax that and then inhale. Does that make sense? Okay. And you've got about 5 of these. And so the most important part actually happens after the exhale. So you round the spine, and then there's this gentle lift that kind of just whoop, literally flies up, which I guess is why it's called Uddiyana Bandha. It's considered a flying bandha. So you're just finding that as that comes up. And you're taking about 5 to 10 on your own. Nice work there, Laura. Good job, Robin. Robin, I wonder what happens if you make your feet a little wider for you so you have a more firm base. Yeah, now try that. Oh, yeah, look at that. Okay. And then when you're ready, you're going to gently release that. You'll inhale, you'll come up to stand just in Tadasana. The gaze will be closed or the eyes dropped. And I want you to just feel the energetic. This one's pretty subtle. So if you feel something, great. If you don't, great. It's totally fine. You just want to stand. You want to soften where you can. Nope. Great. All right. Gently open your eyes. If you're not near the top of your mat, please walk back to the top of your mat. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your left leg long and back, step your right leg long and back. Take 5 breaths here in plank. And you're just pausing and you're breathing, and you're pausing and you're breathing, and you're pausing and you're breathing. And you just got your 5 breaths. Yeah, there you go, Robin. Lift the back of your head a little bit more. Yep. Pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. At the end of your 5th exhalation, you'll shift your weight forward and lower down in one piece, all the way to your belly. Nice control there, guys and gals at home. Okay, back to that blanket roll. Let's take a momentary pause, though, because I don't think you guys are going to like this. So let's start by putting the blanket roll under our lowest ribs and our top of our hips. So we did it at the very beginning where we only went on one side. I want you to do both now. And you're just going to take a moment to pause and breathe there. And you're just going to take a moment to pause and breathe there and just, yeah, I know, not fun. And you're just going to take a moment to pause and breathe there. Heads up, 7 up. Hands directly underneath your forehead. And you just pause and breathe. Okay, we've got about 3 more breaths here. Robert, I think I made that water way too hot. And I boiled it to 212 degrees, and I think it was way too hot for me to just be drinking like that. I was like, that's still hot. Okay, and then gently, you're gonna come off of that. Go ahead and just lie flat for a moment. I'm gonna make you do something else you're not really gonna like. And just notice what you notice lying flat. Just notice, how does the back feel? How does the breath in your body feel? How do the lungs feel? Do you feel like you can take in a deeper breath? I mean, maybe, because now that blanket roll's not there, but aside from that, just notice. Cool. And when you're ready, let's come up to hands and knees once again. And you're gonna make your way back to plank pose. Haha. I know, that was mean. I made you test it and strengthen it, and I made you release it, and I'm making you strengthen it again because I'm gonna make you do something harder. And so you're just gonna pause here and breathe. You're just gonna pause and breathe, and you just notice what you notice. After you've taken your 5 breaths, you'll shift your weight forward and lower all the way down. Great. Once you find yourself on your abdomen, the blanket is now going to come back to our hip creases. Okay. And our hands are going to be underneath our forehead. And then you're going to inhale and lift your right leg up. See if you can lift a little higher. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Lift a little higher. Exhale, lower down. Let's do 3 more sets. Inhale up, higher. Exhale down. Inhale up, a little higher. Exhale down. Inhale up, a little higher. Exhale down. Inhale up, a little higher. Exhale down. I think this should be our last one. What? Do I have one more set? Oh, okay. Sorry, Sandy. We have one more set, guys at home. Guys and gals at home. I was not counting, which is why I appreciate that you guys do. Okay, so we already know what's coming after this one. After you've done both sets, both sides, you're gonna lift both legs up. And then you've got your 10 breaths. And you're gonna pause and you're gonna breathe and you're gonna notice where you can soften. So this is where the Kriya technique comes in. Sarah Hollister literally had us here for a minute holding this. Now it's funny because I was very angry. I could feel all this stuff happening in my back. I was like, oh my God, lady, we can move on from this. And we just stayed here. And we stayed here. And we stayed here. Once we got out, I felt amazing. Okay, got 2 more breath cycles here. And when you're ready, you're gonna lower down. You're gonna bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And this time we're gonna slide them back just a little bit. And I want you to push down through your hands, pull your heart and sternum forward, draw your shoulder blades together on your back, and then see if you can lengthen your neck out of your shoulders. And then exhale, lower down. And you've got 4 sets like this. So your hands are now a little further back than they were before. And you're just feeling what this feels like. You're seeing how much room the back has to move. You're following the breath. So the next time you come up, you're just going to pause there and breathe for a couple of breaths. And then you're going to exhale and lower down. And then last one, you can either move your hands forward an inch. That will decompress, or rather that will decrease the arch in your spine, or keep your hands where they are, but you're going to inhale and come up, and then you'll push your hands to straight. So you're probably in your biggest cobra you've ever been in your entire lives today, and push down through your toes. Draw the shoulder blades back, the heart forward, and the head up. Nice work. And then gently lower down. Take a moment to soften. Take a moment to breathe. Nice work there, Laura. Yep. Great. Okay. This one's going to be weird. Just as a heads up, go ahead and bend your right knee, reach around and grab your right foot. Go ahead and bend your left knee, reach around and grab your left foot. Okay, if that blanket is still between or on your hip creases, your chest is not, and I repeat, not going to get off the floor. It's probably impossible for it to get off. You're welcome. And some of you might choose to use your strap at this point across your feet. Others of you are just going to kick your feet back, and you're going to lift your hips or push your hips down, push your feet into your hands into your feet. And we're in a Dhanurasana. Your chest isn't going to go anywhere, so that's totally fine. See how far you can lift your legs, and just notice what that feels like to really lift that up. Fantastic. Very gently release your feet. Relax down. Turn a cheek to the mat. Okay, and you just take a couple of breaths here. And then turn the other cheek to the mat. Great. And then when you're ready, your head's going to come back through center, and you're going to slide that blanket roll in between your ribs and your hips. So you literally can feel something pulsing underneath it. It's probably like, I can't remember what that's called, but it's got like a little heartbeat. I can feel it when it's lying right there. And some of you are just going to stay right here. You're going to be like, yeah, Jessica, this is where I'm hanging out. And some of you are going to bend both knees. You're going to reach around and grab the outer edges of your ankles. Now, because we've moved the blanket roll forward, this time your chest should have more leverage to lift off, and your legs, you got yourself, okay. Your legs may not. So when you're ready, you'll just go ahead and kick your legs, kick your feet back, and lift up. And you'll notice you might want to move your blanket roll a little further forward if it feels like you can't come up. Thanks, Erica. Yeah. Let's go. Here's just a switch. Oh. Yeah. And you just lift your chest and you pause and you breathe. Yeah. So it definitely comes forward. It's like more close to the front end of your ribs, and you just kind of hang out there. Just hang out. I mean, it feels like you can. Like, I don't know why it's a lot easier, but it is. Okay, and then once you've had that, you'll release. You guys take a breath there. Let me check in with the people at home. So I got feedback on, oh yeah, you could try it without. People at home, if you felt like you couldn't get your chest up on that last one, draw your blanket roll a little bit closer to your face. Great. Do we want to try it again, or are we done with that? Okay. So if you want to try it again, try it again. If you don't, remove your blanket roll and just lay down on your belly for a moment. On the rib one, because we're not going to do the other one. She's here. Andy. Andy's yelling at Erica. Well, not yelling at Erica, but telling her she's cheating because she said it was easy, so he said she must be cheating. All right. That looks very nice there, Robin. Good job, Laura. All right, and then when you're done, gently release. Okay. That one's supposed to be very good for digestion. We'll see how we feel about that later on. Let's go ahead and come up to hands and knees and make your way back to a downward facing dog. Okay. Are we gonna know? No, this one shouldn't leave you running to the bathroom. I did a practice a couple of weeks ago where it was all about digestion, and I thought it was amazing. Like once I finished, I was like, okay, I clearly have to go to the bathroom. This one's more about energetic digestion. It has to do with transitions in life and changes and just being okay with, I guess, assimilating what we need to assimilate and releasing whatever we don't need to hold on to. Okay, let's go ahead and lower our knees to the mat. We haven't done this in a while. And mind you, because we're focusing on digestion, we're not trying to fly. So we're not trying to do anything that will disconnect us from the ground. So we're going to bring our forearms down to the floor. We're going to make a prayer with our hands. Bring your elbows slightly inside of your shoulders, and then you're going to push down into your skin flesh and roll it wide until it feels like your skin catches your mat. From there, round your chin to your chest, round your spine up to the sky, finding that Halloween cat. Curl your toes under, lift your tuchus up, and then maybe you just stay right here. Maybe you walk your feet in a little bit, but we're not going to lift the legs today. We're just focusing on really sending everything down. And Sandy, come down. I want you to take yours a little bit wider. Yeah. You've got wider shoulders than I do. I did say that. I'm sorry. And you were a good student. You listened very closely. I'm sorry. That was not a good cue for you. Okay. And then once you've had enough of that, you're just going to relax in child's pose and just take a couple of breaths. Oh, that looks nice there, Robin. Good job. Okay. Fantastic. From here, let's start to walk ourselves up to sit. So walk your hands underneath your shoulders, push your spine up, bring your butt to the floor. And we're going to do crisscross applesauce today. So if you want to sit on your blanket, by all means, sit on your blanket. That might require you unfurling your blanket and then folding it like so. I'm going to put my heels on the blanket because the floor feels a little hard to my outer ankles. But you might put your sit bones on it. Cool. And then we're going to remove any flesh from underneath our sit bones and sit super duper tall. For the first one, let's just bring our hands off to the sides. And I want you to imagine that you're really a queen or some type of regal thing pushing down to lift up through the spine. Just really, oh yeah, look at that. That works very well as a cue. It's like, I'm very regal. What? We're the regal thing. Yes, yeah. So we're going to sit here and we're going to see if we can just make the front of our body pretty long. Cool. And then from here, let's go ahead and sweep our arms out and up and overhead. And then we're going to exhale and hinge forward. So you might find that as you do this, you're like, well, that's way too much for my back. And so you lower your hands down to the floor first, and then you can descend the elbows or forehead or whatever as you wish to. And you just pause and you breathe. And we're looking for sensation in our outer hips. And we're looking to see if we can let our shoulders relax. We're seeing if we can relax our mouths, our faces. Notice if your hands are clutching the floor. Maybe your toes are curling up, and see if you can soften and relax. Just breathing into your hips, your low back, maybe even the pelvic floor a little bit. And at the end of your next exhalation, you'll start to walk the hands back, walk the spine up. Take a moment to find your regal position once again. Long, long, long spine. Great. See which ankle is in front. Switch the cross of the ankles, or shins rather. Those aren't your ankles. And then once again, I just like this. I think it's funny. And then you'll inhale and lift your arms up. It reminds me of like, I don't know, the queen from Alice in Wonderland, the Red Queen. I feel like she would have done that. And then you'll just allow yourself to descend. And maybe with the second or opposite shin in front, you might feel something different. But again, you're just going to take a couple of moments to breathe here and just settle into the body and settle into the breath. Nice. Take 2 more breath cycles here. The end of your next exhalation, hands come underneath your shoulders, push down into the floor, roll your spine up to vertical. Oh, all right. We're going to find Dandasana, so let's extend our legs long in front of us. Again, stay on that blanket if you're using it. And again, find your regal position. And this is just very interesting that Dandasana, if we actually pay attention to it, can be a really intense pose. We're going to pull our toes back towards our knees. We're going to push our heels down. We're going to push our sit bones down. And then see if you can rock forward on your sit bones just a little bit so your pubic bone drops, your sternum lifts, the ears soften, the crown lifts. Fantastic. We're just going to pause here. We're going to breathe. Feet are super active. Spine is super long. Great. From here, bend just your left knee and draw your left foot to the floor. Cross your left foot to the outside edge of your right thigh. Wrap your right arm around your left arm. Keep that right leg super active. Left hand comes to the outside edge of your left hip. And again, as we did last week, I want you to inhale, lift up through your spine. Root out through your right foot. So think of driving it forward. That starts to rotate you to the left. Push your left arm into your left thigh into your left arm. Scoop the left low belly. Lift up through your crown and rotate a little bit more towards your left. So the more that the right is reaching forward, right foot, you can scoop on the left and rotate to the right. Rotate to the left. And you'll just pause here and breathe. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. And then Barbara, see if you can lift the backs of your ears straight up. So stay in the twist, but think of like being an elf and somebody's pulling your elf ears up. There you go. That's a weird image, but it seemed to work. Awesome. And then when you're ready, you'll gently unwind. Release your left leg long next to your right. Again, come back to your regal pose, Dandasana. So toes are pulling back, heels are pressing down, sit bones are rooting down, and then you rock forward slightly, lift up through the spine. Great. Cool. Go ahead and bend your right knee. Cross your right foot outside of your left thigh. Wrap your left arm around your right knee. And then again, we're going to try this. You start with the left leg going forward. Then you push your right knee into your left arm. You pull your left arm into your right thigh. You lift up through the crown. You scoop the belly on the right side. Maybe push down through your right fingertips and rotate towards the right. Now, if you've got it in you, maybe turn the back of your skull to the front of your mat. Back of your skull, the front of your mat. There you go. And then soften your shoulders away from your ears. And that left leg is super active, super duper active. Nice work. And then on your next in-breath, we're gently going to turn the back of our head to behind us, unwind the spine, unwind the legs. Take a moment to cross the ankles and sit on a block or a blanket for Sukhasana, your choice. Great. Okay, we're going to do some pranayama here. So we're going to turn both palms to face up. Tuck. I'm not going to mirror you now. You're going to tuck your left index finger into the base of your left thumb. You're going to tuck your right middle and index finger into the base of your heel of your hand, and then bring your right hand in front of you. So you'll see that the thumb can rest on the right nostril, ring finger, pinky finger can rest on the left nostril. Go ahead and exhale all the breath from your mouth. Close your right nostril, inhale through your left. Top of the inhalation, go ahead and close the left nostril and exhale out through the right. When you need to, draw the breath in through your right. Top of the inhalation, close the right nostril and exhale out through the left. That counts as one round. We're going to do a total of 9. Inhale when you need to, draw the breath up through the third eye. Top of the inhalation, close the left, and then exhale out through the right. When you need to, you'll slowly draw the breath up through the third eye. Top of the inhalation, you'll close your right nostril, and then you'll exhale slowly through the left. You'll repeat that 7 more times on your own. The invitation is to see how slow you can make the breath. The invitation is to see how even you can make the breath. Once you've got those 2 things going on, you might focus on really drawing the breath up to the third eye center and then allowing it to descend from the third eye center as you exhale. And you just pause and you breathe. You're taking your time. All easy signs. And again, you're taking your time, but once you've exhaled the ninth time out of your left nostril, you'll simply lower your right hand. And once you get to that spot, there's no rush. Just simply sit with your breath. You notice how it feels as it enters and exits the body. You see if you can keep your spine long. Okay. Some of you will continue to sit here. Some of you will turn around and lie down on your backs, heads towards the top of your space. When you do find yourself on your back, I encourage you to take a moment in constructive rest. Your knees are bent, your feet are wider than your hips, and they fall in towards each other. And then you wrap your arms around your torso. Some of you may choose to stay there in constructive rest, and some of you will make your way directly to Shavasana. But you just take a couple of breaths. Those of you in constructive rest, notice if you want to switch which arm is on top. And then as you settle into this final shape, if you make your way into something other than constructive rest, my invitation to you is to take your time to really set yourself up super duper well. So those that are still seated, maybe you notice where you can find a little bit more length in the vertebrae and a little bit more softness in the breath. Yep. As you settle into the shape, or settle into your seat. I want you to see if you can do so in a luxuriating manner. And by that, I mean, I think that a lot of times, speaking for myself, it's hard to deal with change or things that are unknown because it doesn't always feel like there's a sense of spaciousness around it, a sense of ease, a sense of time. And our final shape, whichever shape you may have found for today, is an opportunity for us to remember that there can be as much spaciousness as we allow, as much spaciousness as we consciously choose to invite in. And for many of us, speaking for myself again, it has a luxurious quality to it when things feel spacious, when they feel effortless. And so as you're here with your breath for these last few moments, the invitation is, how can you luxuriate in your breath? How can you luxuriate in your body? How can you find pleasure in just being with the sensations that are alive and present right here, right now? I'll leave you here with you for a few more breaths. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please stay here. Gently, you'll allow movement to re-enter into your form in whatever way feels good to you. Again, those in stillness, stay as long as you'd like. Those in movement, start to make your way to your right side. We'll pause there for a couple of breaths on your right side. Then when you feel ready, roll your chest a little bit more towards the floor, press into your top hand, and find yourself in a comfortable seat. When you are vertical, take the opportunity to sit well, especially if you've been sitting the whole time. You might want to move around a bit. And then when you're vertical, let the gaze still soften or the eyes close. From that internal space, really root down into the pelvis and extend out through the legs and the feet. And then notice that as you root down, you can find the lift up through the vertebra, the softening of the shoulders, the elbows, the hands. Relax your jaw, soften the eyes and soften the eyelids. Interesting, our ability to digest isn't just a chemical process that happens in the body, it's an emotional process as well. In Ayurveda, they say that the heart and the mind are essentially the same thing. So in order for us to digest things, like we have to be on the same page, both mentally as well as emotionally. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time, it takes a little bit of space to catch up between the two, or for the two to come to some type of consensus. So wherever you are in this moment, I want you to just notice what you're feeling in your heart. Notice any sensations you might be feeling in your gut. And then notice what you might be feeling in the mind. We'll go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum, and then push your sternum into your thumbs. And then from here, let's think of a slight lift in the occipital lobe, just the back of the skull, slight lift. There we go. Exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in through the nose. Audible exhale. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw our thumbs to our lips. May our words be kind. And then draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light, the breath, that which digests within me, honors and salutes the light, the breath, that which digests within each of you. Namaste.